Well, here it is, the Block Blue Light Ultimate XXL Red Light Therapy panel. This is their body panel, the largest panel they've ever produced. And it's pretty exciting because a lot of people have been waiting for this full, true, shoulder to shoulder, head to toe Red Light Therapy panel. Now, hang around, I'm going to do a full review, test it, and all that good stuff, but I'm also going to compare this to the extremely popular Rojo Refine 3600. So I'll do that at the end of the video. Let's take a closer look at this panel first though. So this new panel has 1200 dual chip LEDs, meaning every lens you see up there is packing 2 chips, which is great, good for light coverage. So previously the Block Blue Light largest panel was the Elite. The new Ultimate has nearly 500 more LEDs. So they're still dual chip, which is great, and it still comes with the 5 wavelengths. Now remember, the Elite got second in my 2024 body panel comparison video. The key downside with that panel was that it was a bit too small for some. However, there's a lot of new features in the Ultimate. Of course, it's a lot larger, but it also now comes with an app, so I can turn it on and off with my phone, which is rather cool. But more importantly, it comes with a new advanced control system. You see, you can go in and individually adjust the power output to each wavelength. Now, we have seen this before in the Rojo panel, so it's not an industry new feature, but it is a highly requested feature. And you even have the ability to save your blend, your power blend, into a customized preset loaded into the device itself. It doesn't, however, have preloaded presets that we have seen in the Rojo. And another new feature is the included app, which works rather nicely with the new custom preset modes. Size-wise, it's 71 inches tall, which is about 180 centimeters, and 24 inches wide, about 61 centimeters, and it weighs in at 90 pounds. I'm 5'10", 178. You can see as I stand in front of it, it is pretty good for full body coverage. Okay, so let's have a look at the wavelengths and how much power this panel is emitting. So I just did a snapshot reading using my spectrometer, and let's see what we got here. We see the first peak here at 630, which is great, 631 to be precise. Second peak at about 664, good amount of light coming in between those peaks as well. When we look at the near infrared, we see that first peak at about 818, so 810 is down here, still a decent amount, but the peak is slightly off. Then we see the second peak around here at 830, so that matches up, and then the final one here at 854. So yeah, I mean, they're all pretty much aligned. The good thing is, as I move around the panel and take different points, you're getting a pretty consistent blend of light. You don't see any areas where there's lots of near infrared and not much red, or vice versa. So that is promising. Now, what about the irradiance figures? Now, Block Blue Light claimed that it has a peak of 189 milliwatts over centimeter squared when measured with a solar meter, or 90 milliwatts over centimeter squared when measured with a much more accurate spectrometer. And I have the latter, and my readings came out to be a little bit under that, though still, I guess, within range. The peak I found was about 85, 86 milliwatts, so that's pretty good. The average, where I take 9 different readings around the perimeter and through the center, that came out to be 75 milliwatts over centimeter squared. So yes, that is lower than what they claim, but remember, every company is looking for that highest peak reading, and that's what they're going to advertise. The good thing is, Block Blue Light lists both the solar meter reading and the spectrometer reading. Most companies just do the much higher solar meter reading, which is disappointing. All right, so if we head over to lighttherapyinsiders.com and click on the shopping tool, we can see how this panel compares to others. So what we want to do is we want to sort by body panel only, and we can see here, if we look at it by value, $5.30 per watt of therapeutic red light. Second on the chart, only just behind the Rojo Refine 3600. So exceptional value, not necessarily market leading. But when we look over here, we'll see that the total power is actually higher, and the average radiance. So it's simply putting out more power than the Rojo, but it is a little bit more expensive relatively. Of course, you compare this to all the other panels. I mean, $5.30 is, it's so much better than some of these other panels. And when you compare it to, say, a wall panel as well, you see it here in third place. So exceptional value, amazing power, decent radiance, Let's see how it ranks in terms of radiance. So here it is in 16th place for total radiance compared to some of the smaller, more powerful compact devices. Okay, so when we look at the Block Blue Light website, for the Ultimate, we can see that there are 5 wavelengths being emitted. A quarter of the power is going to 660, another quarter going to 630. The remaining 50% is split between 810, 830, and 850 nanometers. There's also no issues from an EMF point of view. Okay, so how much does the Block Blue Light Ultimate XXL cost? Well, it retails currently for $4,499 US. Now, if you order through the link down below and use the discount code Alex, you will save 15%, which is a massive saving, and that will bring the price down to $3,825 US. So you're silly not to use that code unless, of course, you don't want to support me, because if you use that code, you save, but I do get a commission on the sale as well. I am affiliated with this company. Full disclosure, Block Blue Light sent it to me. I've been using it the last 2 or 3 weeks. And if you've seen my reviews in the past, I do my best to remove myself from the equation, any business ties or anything like that, and just talk about the product. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you don't, leave a comment. Let me know why you don't enjoy it, and be sure to subscribe, because I do a lot of reviews, comparisons, interviews, and cover a lot of red light therapy topics. Okay, now you'd think for a panel of this size, which by the way is very difficult to move on your own, you'd think shipping's going to be cost prohibitive, right? Well, you know what's crazy? If you get this shipped to your door in the US, you're only going to pay $30 US, 30, amazing. Now, if you're in Australia, you'll pay even less, about $20. You see, Block Blue Light have warehouses in Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, UK, and Europe, I believe. They've got a lot of warehouses. So if you're in one of those continents, you should be able to get shipping quite cheap. And it also means taxes and all of that are included. Of course, if you live outside of those areas, expect to pay more. So now that we know power and price, we can do a value calculation, and it comes out to be $5.30, meaning you spend $5.30 for 1 watt of therapeutic red light. And this number is extraordinarily low. I remember 2 or 3 years ago saying anything under 10 was exceptional. We're well below that now. So that is because you're buying a large panel, economies of scale and all that good stuff, but also the technology has improved. These panels are putting out a lot more power at a lower cost. So it is really good value. Now, what do you get for this price? Well, you get some goggles, you get a really good manual, you get a wall mounting bracket kit, you get a remote control, and of course, access to that app. As for stands, you can purchase a vertical or horizontal heavy duty stand. It is $500 extra. You can do that at the checkout screen. It's not electric, but if you do want to wheel this around, it's something you might want to consider. Finally, it comes with a 5-year warranty, at 100,000-hour lifespan on the LEDs, and a 30-day returns period. Okay, so pros and cons. What do I like about this? Well, first up, Block Blue Light finally have a true body panel. It's awesome. A lot of people rate this company very highly and have been wanting this full shoulder-to-shoulder, head-to-toe panel for some time now. Well, here it is. Not only that, it's actually a really good panel. You're getting dual chip LEDs, and it's putting out a nice blend of light. You're getting balanced coverage right across the body. There's the pulsing feature for those that want that. You're getting 5 wavelengths with a decent power output going to each. Of course, you get the dimming ability and a really sleek touchscreen control panel, but now you get the ability to independently adjust the power output to each wavelength, and of course, save your own presets into the device. You can save 4 different presets. A lot of people have been wanting that, and it is a really cool feature. And it still comes with the remote, but you also get this app. Now, the app is really polished, and I used to think you don't really need an app for these devices, but as we're getting more advanced, you know, the ability to independently change the wavelengths and save the presets and that, the app comes in really handy. It's just a much more intuitive to use the app than a little screen on the side of the panel, especially if you're programming the device while you're doing a warm-up or something. I don't know. It just gives you options. So I do like that, and the app is a really nice app to use. I finally have to talk about the company and the price point. Block Blue Light have been around for nearly 10 years now. They've been in the red light therapy space for about 4 or 5, and they've done exceptionally well, putting out some really good panels, and even more importantly, at a really good price point. Now, we saw the value figure before. This is one of the best. You factor in the ultra low shipping, the good warranty, and its highly respected customer support team. And yeah, you do have a really standout product, but it's not all perfect. So let's talk about the downsides. First up, that 810 peak, I tested a peak of 818. It's not far off. Typically I allow 5 nanometers off the peak before I say anything. So we're slightly off that. Again, you're still getting a lot of energy at 810, but I do need to point out this discrepancy. Now, if you want to get picky, one may say that it's not truly cutting edge. It's missing out on some of the wavelengths we're seeing in some other panels. It doesn't have your 590 nanometer amber light, doesn't have the 1060 nanometer near infrared, or even the 900s that we're seeing in some other panels. Still though, I think the 5 wavelengths in this panel are really good. They're tried and tested. There's nothing outrageous in here trying to excite the market. Block Blue Light have stuck to what they know works. Also, it doesn't have the preset modes in here. Now, I didn't expect this because I interviewed Daniel Ebbett, the founder of Block Blue Light, last year, and he said why he wasn't a fan of that. You can check that interview out later. But still, some people would have preferred that. And they're saying that if you jump in our Facebook group, there's like 14,000 members in there, and you ask around, you can probably get a good idea of a good blend for your particular need, and then save that into this device. And the other downside is around the stand. The heavy duty stand is $500 US. It's quite expensive, and it's not electric. I think for this sort of panel and this sort of price point, offering an electric stand is a no-brainer, and also doing it at a price point that is fair. Okay, so overall, should you buy the Block Blue Light? Well, remember, I'm going to compare this to the Rojo 3600 very soon. But yeah, I mean, it's a great panel. Like, seriously, I've said this in lots of videos. If this was the only device that I could ever use for the rest of my life, I'd be happy with that. And that is true for this. It has full body coverage. It has all the good wavelengths that I'm looking for. It may miss out on a couple, but overall it's really good. Good power, easy to use, has pulsing if you want to play with that. Nice blend of light. It's great. Even better, it comes in at quite a good price point given what you're getting. But how does it compare to some other panels on the market? Well, first up, I want to compare it to the Block Blue Light Elite panel. This is the smaller version to the Ultimate. It's what plays second in my body panel comparison. Now, the Elite has 500 less LEDs, coming in at 720 dual chip LEDs. Same 5 wavelengths, same really good power output, very comparable. However, it doesn't have the custom preset mode or the ability to adjust the wavelengths individually. But of course, it is smaller. You're not getting true shoulder to shoulder or head to toe coverage. On the flip side, though, it is $1,000 cheaper. So if price is an issue, then of course it should be considered, and I have done reviews on that. So the big comparison is the Rojo Refine 3600. This is an extremely popular panel. It won the body panel comparison last year. So let's go head to head between these two panels. Remember, I have owned both and have used both quite extensively. So first up, they both have 1200 dual chip LEDs. They're both pretty much the same size. They're both emitting 5 wavelengths. They both have pulsing. They both allow you to change the power output to each wavelength individually. They both come with an app, though I'd say the Block Blue Light app is nicer. They both offer really low-cost shipping, including worldwide shipping. So they are quite similar, but there are some differences. First up, the power. The Block Blue Light panel is slightly more powerful, an average of 75 milliwatts compared to the Rojo's 72, and a total power of 718 watts compared to 670 watts with the Rojo. Now, the Rojo also has those preset modes, so you can go in and select muscle recovery, sleep, general wellness. Block Blue Light don't have that. That's a big difference. Though I know the preset mode has its flaws, and I've talked about that in the Rojo review, so go check that out. Now, the Block Blue Light panel has a 5-year warranty, whereas the Rojo panel only has 3. And finally, the price. The Rojo is $400 cheaper than the Block Blue Light panel. Lots of pros and cons for both, right? So which one is better? Look, it depends. It really does depend. If you want the preset mode, if you want the lower cost option, then yeah, go with Rojo. If you're not phased about those things, if you want a bit more power, if you like the more polished app, the longer warranty, then Block Blue Light. What do you think? I'm curious to know. And after you've typed your reply, why don't you check out this video? It is my body panel comparison video. Why don't you go back, watch that video, and see how this panel would have featured in that roundup.